Now, known for being the stern-faced governess on ITV's quiz show The Chase, Anne Hegarty captured the hearts of the nation on Monday. That's when she opened up about living with Asperger's when she's on I'm a Celebrity. It's a form of autism.
The response has been huge on social media, with viewers full of praise for her honesty and the way that others have dealt with her as well and spoken to her about it. Anne's also highlighting the issue of later life diagnosis. She received hers when she was 45. We'll speak to someone in a moment on the sofa who's got a similar experience to that. But first, let's see the moment she first talked about her condition.
We've been cracking jokes all day, and she's just opened up to us about a condition that she has.
It's also an autistic thing. When you're trying to work out what to do, we need... What neurotypicals have is a thing called mirror neurons, so they can see a thing done and know how to do it. And I have to kind of line the mirror neurons up in my head. And like this. Yeah, it doesn't, yes, I mean, it doesn't have to be the same all the time, but I've got to sort of actually work it out.
And envisage yourself doing it and stuff.
Yeah.
And what I read was you didn't realise till you were older.
Yeah, it wasn't until 2003 when I was 45.
Really?
So, yeah.
So you got tested?
Yeah.
And they said yes?
Yeah.
Well, we're joined now by Cal Povey from the National Autistic Society and Nikki Clark, who was diagnosed with autism in her late 40s. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this. Give us an idea, Nikki, of the reaction when you saw that for the first time. How did that make you feel, to see Anne talking about it like that and to see others interacting and trying to find out information about how she felt and how they could help her as well?
It was lovely. I mean, I think the fact that she was so relaxed and so open, and that is how you are, really, because a lot of people said to me that I was very brave when I sort of explained that I was autistic, but it's not really bravery. You're just talking about an aspect of yourself that you've had from birth. But it was also the reactions of Rita and Fleur. They were so warm and they were so supportive, and that was wonderful. I mean, that is so needed for explaining a condition which is invisible. Many people believe it to be an invisible disability. Other people are less keen to identify it as a disability. But it really is important, the support that you get. How important was it to you? Or what difference did it make to your life when you were diagnosed, similar to Anne Hegarty, in your 40s? It's incredibly important. I wrote about it in The Guardian, and a lot of women wrote to me and asked, would I suggest that they go forward and seek a diagnosis? And I always say this is a decision you absolutely have to make for yourself. But for me, the longer you have lived as an undiagnosed autistic woman, the longer you have to look back over a life which can be challenging. I mean, we can't deny that there are aspects of bullying, there are aspects around eating disorders, there are lots of aspects and challenges that you have often walked away from feeling completely at blame and at fault for, and you internalise so much of it. So when you can actually say, not that you have an excuse or you have a justification, but that you have a reason to understand why you've processed things differently or you've been responded to differently. It's really important.
Carol, tell us a bit about the reaction that you've had through your charity since Anne has been speaking on the programme.
It's been an overwhelming response to Anne being on the television in this way, and a really positive one. There's been so much support for her, and so many people coming to our website to find out more about autism, and particularly for women, where it's often much harder for them to get the diagnosis. They often have to wait an awful lot longer because people don't understand how autism presents in women. So I think it's been great for younger women who are able to see such a positive role model.
Nikki mentioned the diagnosis and being diagnosed or being assessed. What does that involve?
It involves an assessment by a multidisciplinary team, so very often a psychologist, maybe a psychiatrist, maybe a speech and language therapist, really trying to understand some of the difficulties that the individual has had and their strengths as well. So it's really important. It's a holistic look at the individual. But for many people, as Nikki said, it makes sense, especially if they have a later diagnosis, makes sense of all the difficulties that they've experienced throughout their lives and gives a real feeling of, I understand now who I am.
Yeah. It's huge, isn't it? Thank you so much for coming on and discussing that with us. I'm sure you'll be following Anne and hoping that she does well, stays there as long as possible. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you,
Lovely
Carol.
to talk to you.